Welcome, students of class 5. This is social science, and today we are going to do part 3 of chapter 1. That is the remaining portion of this chapter, which we haven't covered in the last 2 classes. So today you're going to learn about latitudes and longitudes. However, before I go to the third part, I want to give a few revisions on what I have covered in the last 2 classes. So you can see here, I have explained on the universe, the solar system, Earth, a living planet, North Pole and South Pole, globe and its features, oceans and continents. So here from the picture, let me give a revision. So I've explained to you about galaxy, where a group of stars forms the Milky Way, right? There are many galaxies, so Milky Way is one of them. I've explained to you about the sun, the importance of sun, how it gives light to the entire solar system, so we are able to have a view of all the planets. If there was no sun, we wouldn't have had day and evening time, right? We wouldn't have even morning also, but it's because of the sun we are able to get light, and also it's a good source of vitamin for the people living on earth. Now, moon. I explained to you about moon. Moon is also it's also a heavenly body, and the moon shines bright at night, but the light that comes from the moon is actually the reflection of the sun, okay? Then I explained to you about the 8 planets of the solar system. So we have 8, that is Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune. So from there, Mercury is the smallest planet and Jupiter is the biggest planet. Also Mercury, you can see here, it is very close to the sun. So it is also known as the hottest planet. Okay. Then talking about the orbits here, you see the lines, right? These are actually imaginary lines. Okay. That means there is no such actual line, but it is just that these planets revolve, that is, they make a circle around the sun and in a fixed path. They do not change their places. They always make a circle in the fixed path, and that is why these imaginary lines are made, so we can understand that the planets revolve around the sun at a very fixed path known as orbits. Then I told you about our continents and oceans, that we have 5 oceans and 7 continents, where Arctic Ocean is the smallest ocean and Pacific is the largest. And talking about the continents, the largest continent is Asia and the smallest continent is Australia. Okay. Then we talked about the Earth. The Earth is the only planet out of these 8 planets here. The Earth is the only planet where human beings survive, and that is because of certain special things that the Earth have. One is water and another one is land. Also we have very good weather conditions where human beings can survive. Then another important one is oxygen, which is available on Earth. Then I explained to you about the globe. Today, for the remaining explanation, I'm going to use this globe. And then I told you about rotation, which makes day and night. But this rotation and revolution, I am not going to explain much, because in another video lesson, that is chapter 2, you are going to learn about day and night. Okay? Now students, that was all about the revision of the last 2 classes. Now as I said, we are going to continue with the remaining subtopics with starting from the globe, all right? So the globe is a model of the earth. It is shaped like an earth. Whatever continents and oceans we have are all marked there. See, what you see at my back is the shape of the earth on a paper, right? On a flat paper. It's very difficult to explain when the earth is drawn on a paper because we can see only one side of it, right? It's not like a map of India, right? Where we can see everything on one side. But we need a globe for explanation because the earth is round. So when I'm explaining only at one side, the remaining at the back side is missed out, right? So we need a globe, okay? So in this new chapter, in the remaining portion of the chapter, you are going to learn about latitudes and longitudes. These latitudes and longitudes, they are simply lines, okay? But if you don't listen carefully, you will be very confused because though they are lines, they have different meanings and they are from different directions, all right? So we have latitudes and longitudes, and together they also form boxes. Can you see these boxes here? They are known as grid, okay? With the help of this grid, with the help of latitudes and longitudes, you will be able to locate certain places, all right? So in the whole world, we have about 195 countries, and it's very difficult to find in a globe, right? A globe is small and it will be very difficult to find them. But when we are given proper latitudes and longitudes, then we can locate, means we can find the places easily, okay? Now it is very important for you to know these 4 directions, that is north, south, west and east, okay? So we have 4 directions. The north is at the top, south is at the bottom, west on one side of me and east on the other side of me. Now with these 4 directions, we are going to start with the explanation. So first is latitudes, okay? Now the lines which circles the earth from west to east or east to west, whichever you can say, are known as the lines of latitude, okay? See here, these are the lines of latitude. So the line of latitude, the circle around the earth from west to east, okay? So altogether we have 180 lines, all right? So we can say we have 180 latitudes, okay? So look carefully, we have these latitudes and there is one line in the middle known as the equator, all right? Now this equator divides the earth into 2 parts. From the equator till the top is northern hemisphere, and from the equator till the bottom is southern hemisphere. Now the equator, since it is in the middle, it is marked as 0 degree. That means it is the starting point, all right? Are you listening carefully? You have to watch this image carefully, all right, to understand. Now the line in the middle is 0 degree because it is the starting line. Now from here till top is 90 lines, and then from here till the bottom is 90 lines. Now when you add 90 plus 90, it is 180, right? So altogether we have 180 lines in a latitude. And remember, the line in the middle of a latitude is known as equator, whereas the line in the middle of a longitude is different, okay? For now, I will not explain longitude since we have to focus on latitudes, okay? Now, of all these 180 lines, there are 4 very important lines of the latitude. And they are, number 1, starting from the top, Arctic Circle, second, Tropic of Cancer, third is the equator. Now, next, Tropic of Capricorn and Antarctic Circle. So, I have written the names here. You can see once more. Number 1 is Tropic of Cancer. Number 2, Tropic of Capricorn. 3, Arctic Circle. And number 4 is Antarctic Circle. So we have 4 very important lines of the latitude. Alright, so altogether we have 180 lines, right? 180 latitudes. You can say that. Okay, coming to the globe now. So in the previous class also I have shown you the same image, and here also you have to learn, because with the help of globe, when you know the directions, you will be able to understand what is a latitude and what is a longitude. Okay, so the line in the middle I have marked with green color. It is known as equator. Okay, equator. Now equator is the line that is separating the earth into 2 parts, right? One at the top, northern hemisphere, one at the bottom, southern hemisphere. Okay, there are 2 important poles, all right? One is the North Pole. North means up, right? And then one is South Pole, south at the bottom. Now, if you remember when I told you about the different continents, I told you that the Antarctica, the continent, is located at the South Pole, right? And you can also see that since it is at the bottom, it is very difficult for the sun to come and reflect its light on these 2 poles. So this North Pole and South Pole are very cold regions, okay? And the area in the middle are quite hot. They are also known as the tropical regions, okay? So let me explain once more. We have 2 poles, North Pole and South Pole, then a line in the middle known as the equator, then the upper part, northern hemisphere, then the down part, southern hemisphere. Okay, so this is very important. You have to know these proper directions in order to understand latitudes. Now coming to longitudes. So before I end this lesson, I'm also going to take you back to latitudes once more so you can understand the difference between these 2 lines, okay? Now here we are going to start longitudes. So I told you about the North Pole and South Pole, right? Just now from this image, see we have North Pole and the South Pole, right? Now the lines which comes from the North Pole and touch the South Pole are the longitudes, okay? So we have, see, so many lines, right? So if you remember, I told you that in latitudes we have 180 lines, whereas in longitudes there are even more. We have, so just like how the Earth was divided by equator into 2 parts, here also the Earth is divided from the west to the east, and there is one line that divides it. Okay, you can see here, right? This line is known as the prime meridian. All right, now this prime meridian divides the Earth into 2 parts again, one towards the west and one towards the east. Now here in longitudes, towards the west, there is 180 lines, and towards the east, we have 180 lines again. So when you add that, you get 360 lines. So in latitudes, we have 180 lines, whereas in longitudes, we have 360 lines. Okay, so look carefully. These are the longitudes. Also, we have some important lines in the longitude. So number 1, prime meridian, that is the middle line, okay, the line at the center which divides the earth into two halves again. So the one here is the eastern hemisphere and the one here is the western hemisphere. Also we have Greenwich, which I'm going to show you in the other images. So the center one, and again just like the equator, even the prime meridian is marked as 0 degree, okay? So from 0 degree till the entire west is 180 lines, then from the 0 degree to the entire east has 180 lines. Now look carefully, this is latitude and this is longitude, okay? The lines of the latitude go from west to east and the lines of the longitude go from north to south. I'm sure now you can differentiate them, right? And the line in the middle of a latitude is known as equator, and the line in the middle of a longitude is known as prime meridian, okay? Okay, so I've already explained to you that we have 180 lines in latitudes and 360 lines in longitudes. Also, we have North Pole and South Pole. Then we have Northern Hemisphere, Southern Hemisphere, Eastern Hemisphere, and Western Hemisphere, depending on the 4 directions that I've shown you in the previous image. Okay, so we are still in longitude. So this longitude, the lines at one point they meet, okay? This point is known as the international date line. So this 180 degree west and the 180 degree east, they come and meet at one latitude, okay? They come and meet at one point. This is known as the international date line. So locating places on a globe. I told you that if you understand latitude and longitude, then you can locate places, right? So these boxes here, those are grid, okay? Now can you see that some of this yellow color is a continent, all right? Now you can see that some of the countries falls on some of this grid, right? Now let's take an example from this map, India map, okay? Now if somebody tells you the exact location of Nagaland, if somebody asks you where is Nagaland, so you can see here, okay, here we can see that Nagaland falls from, I have to refer to the textbook. Okay, so Nagaland falls from 20 degree north to 28 degree north of latitude. Then talking about the longitudes, it is from 92 degree east to 96 degree east. So that is the exact location of Nagaland, okay? So on, you can also try to find out in a globe if you have a globe, or also if you have a textbook called as the atlas where there are maps, where there are longitudes and latitudes. You can also try to go and find out the exact location with the help of longitudes and latitudes, okay? Now it's question time. So if you remember, how many lines are there in a latitude? We have 180 lines in a latitude. How many lines we have in a longitude? We have 360 lines. Now next question is, what are the 2 poles? One is North Pole and the other one is South Pole. Now next question, what is the middle line of the latitude known as? It is known as equator, okay? E-Q-U-A-T-O-R, equator. And what is the center line of a longitude known as? It is known as prime meridian, okay? M-E-R-I-D-I-A-N, prime meridian. So these are the important lines that you need to remember in order to understand a latitude, and a longitude. Also, I would like to remind you once more that longitudes are those lines which comes from the north to the south pole, right? And the latitudes are the lines which touch from the west to the east. Now, when these lines join at certain point, they form some boxes. These boxes are known as grid, G-R-I-D, grid. Now, with the help of this grid, we can locate the places. I've shown you an example of locating Nagaland, right? So in the latitude, we have 92 to 94 degree north, and towards the longitude, we have 96 to 94 degree north. Likewise, you can find the exact location. So most people, what they do, it's very difficult for them to explain about their particular location of their country, right? Because we have more than 195 countries in the entire world. So if I tell you to find where is Malta, Malta is a country in Europe, and you can't find them, right? But if I tell you the exact location of Malta by giving you the exact latitude and the exact longitude, then you can find out the exact place in no time, right? So it's quite interesting. Now that you have understood longitudes and latitudes, now you can also go and find out the exact location with the help of a map, or you can also do this activity with your friends. Just tell them to say a random country, and then you find it, and you can do the same with your friend. Okay, well, thank you very much, my dear students. In the next class, I'm going to see you with another chapter.